All right, hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging and Friends, and we're here to talk about Australia tonight because there are a lot of choice words about that continent, country. I don't know. It could be both. Who cares? Anyhow, something about what the hell's wrong with you people running around chasing big spiders that are going to kill you and pretending like they're not going to kill you. Something about toilet water going backwards. I don't know what that's about. Like, I don't know. Everyone said everything's trying to kill you. You all look like you're doing just fine. So maybe it's not as bad. I don't know. I'm just saying. Whatever. That's all we got.
Thoughts were shared.
I didn't prep for tonight, so it's going to be a wild one. We'll see what's going to happen. We'll see what's going to happen. Anyhow, yeah, more Fragged Empire tonight. And we're doing things a little different because, as I said, I didn't really do a lot of prep. So normally at the start of a Fragged Empire session, you are supposed to restore grit points to 3. I think that's bullshit, just like Benny's. You know which game you're talking about, Savage Worlds. I see you. Anyhow, so we're not doing it that way. You need to earn your grit rerolls back because it's ridiculous. You just get them for free. Just get them for free. What kind of government you run in Australia? Anyhow, so instead, this is how we're gonna do it.
I'm so happy you're running with this.
This is how we're gonna do it. You need to tell me something. We're going to do this one by one. So shut your mouth. We're going to do this one by one. You need to tell me something you remember from last session, and you get a grit point back. You get a grit reroll. That's how this is going to roll. Joe, we're starting with you. Go. There's a time limit on this.
We found a bunch of ducks, some collector ducks in a smuggling.
1 point back for Zatek. Maya, go. Wow, my tray.
We found a bunch of like hollow-ish stones that have various things in them.
That is correct. However, unless you can tell me one specific thing inside of that stone, that's no grit point.
There was a fluffy bedroom slippers.
I'll take it. You can have it. There were in fact some slippers, some homemade slippers. Dr. Toronto, what do you got?
That's.
I'm using your full name, so you know I'm upset.
Oh, I'm in trouble there. Okay. Well, what I remember is that Franklin grew an extra head and is now a Hydra turtle. And his extra head's name is Harriet. I gotta remember what the sister's name was.
That's perfect. Absolutely. 1 point for Dr. T. We're back to Dr. T. Jita, quit looking at your damn notes. What do you got? This could be bedded right here in your brain.
We found a hairbrush. Of the many things that we found a hairbrush.
Of all the things, she remembers. She remembers a hairbrush.
I wrote down a lot of things, but
you know what?
Said fuzzy slippers.
Take your 1 grit point away. You're down to 0. Kill. You're up next. What do you got?
I guess it turns out that we have an AI on the ship that's maybe our friend's person, like his friend that's not really dead. We don't know because we're all like we've been gaslit completely, but it's
excellent. Well done. That's
Jeremy,
a point for kill.
You were gonna say that you got a cat.
Whoa! You might do another round.
There's another round coming.
Same.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it, Jita. You have -1 grit points. Back to Zatek.
Let's go in the opposite direction. Does that mean, Jeff, you get to just randomly say re-roll and take?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you.
If she gets slow enough, her character dies during introductions. Never happened before. First time for everything. You heard it.
God.
Zatek, give me something else.
Mm-hmm.
What do you remember?
I found like a little instrument. It was like a ball that I could play by all these little omnidirectional hexagon things. And it made me remember things when we played certain songs.
Take a point. You're up here, max at 3. Look at that. All right, Maya, we're back to you.
We found 7 smuggling holds, one of which had these ducks in them.
That's true. But we've already done the ducks thing, though.
Oh, no, I was in with the holds. Okay, also kills a Wolf agent.
There we go. Thank you. Yes. Okay, we'll take that. 1 point for Maya. Dr. T, give me something else.
It took me goddamn forever to heal Zatek.
Yeah.
Like, fucking forever. I had other people to tend to.
No one
And he's
important.
just like, I got a boo boo over here. I got a boo boo over there. And like, it was forever.
Just like in real life, Ajax is very bad for bacteria.
You got like a cut in your skin. Just body morph it and it's fixed. What's the problem? I don't understand.
Just push it together. Get a little water, rub it. It's gone.
You're a giant blob. How do you have wounds? That doesn't even make sense. I don't know. All right, Jita. You're at -1 grit rerolls. What do you got?
When we came back, our arboretum was in bloom of stuff that's like bioluminescent.
Oh my god, that is so weak. Fine, you can come back to 0. You get 0 again.
Yay!
Jeez. Kill.
Okay, so I mean, I suppose we should talk about Goro-2. It's like this adorable little cat type creature that apparently is more like intelligent than a regular cat and trainable and can like give you memories back. Super weird, but awesome and cute.
Super weird, very cute, and is now your buddy. As you not only befriended him, but you trained him, taught him how to do like shadow boxing and stuff like that. It was pretty intense. Okay, Jita, one last call to get a grit reroll. Something good. Melissa is the worst one, by the way, because she cheats at her rolls. As everyone knows, there's a command. It's right there. It's fact. I'm not, it's right there. So like, she'll probably just say she has rerolls. That's all it is. Can I spend a penny on this?
I mean, I have a list of so many things that we found when we came back. There was a data pad. There was a talking hologram. There was a hairbrush and a necklace and a severed hand.
Are you -50 DKP for you? That's it. All of your grit rerolls are gone. You cannot use any grit rolls. You're doing so well, and then you said a severed hand, 0 grit rerolls. Put it to 0. I'm serious, because it was a severed freaking head. It was a severed head.
Sorry, that's you know my handwriting. It was a head or a hand, and it was a 50-50 in the moment, which I was going to say head or hand.
I know your handwriting, and for 20 years I said it's freaking horrible, and you constantly say it's not that bad, and yet here we are. And you've got 0 grit.
The severed head.
I enjoy that you can't read your own handwriting. That's great.
Just
because I write so fast when you're streaming.
Throw out a
Dr.
bonus
T
out there. Yeah,
yes, please.
Throw out a bonus. It was Dr. T's true disappointment last session. Those cute little ducks were not full of drugs.
Yes.
I tried. Back when everyone was just like, the wall is full of ducks. And I'm like, I want to cut one open. They're like, why would you kill ducks? I'm like, they're rubber.
Yeah. Melissa was under the impression they were real ducks, I think. They might not be filled
I was a little confused
with drugs. But if you tried to dissolve one of them to see if maybe they were themselves drugs.
Oh, that's fucking 4D chess right there. I wasn't even thinking about that.
That's right, Australia.
I haven't got them all open yet.
But you know what? But you know what's funny is that, and if you're on our Discord, you would have seen this discussion.
You're not getting grit rerolls. None of it. You're not getting it. You're not getting grit rerolls for this.
No, that's fine. I'm just saying. After we played Fragged and we talked about ducks hiding in the wall, suddenly in real life at my work, little mini ducks started appearing on
which is so great.
Picture frames and things and printers and different things around the hallway.
Doesn't count if they're not real, like animals.
They're little itty bitty tiny.
They totally count because today there were flamingos.
There were flamingos today. Whoever is hiding them.
When you say I went out and walked over to the local duck pond and I punched out a mama duck and a papa duck and I stole all their babies and now we have office ducklings.
Melissa's not going to say that to us.
Do that.
If that's what she does.
Get your grip points back.
Yeah, you just gotta go punch out some parent ducks, make some duckling orphans, and then take them in.
There you go.
Oh, good gracious. I mean, I know exactly where to find ducks. They're not too far away.
You want your grip points back? You've got a plan.
I will never re-roll dice in this game ever again.
There we go. All right. So let's get started. So I have a little handout for you all to track all the various things that you recovered From the crates that you took off Hypnos, they were all, as Maya was saying, encased in there's all these just rocks. They just look like rocks, but after a little bit of doing, you realize there was some stuff hidden in them. There was some astronav crystals. There was this data pad that had some kind of honeycomb interface. There was the orb that Zatek messed with, and I think that's the only one that's seen extensive study. I think everything else, no one's really done any extensive study on. There was like a machine toy. I use toy in quotation marks because at first glance, it kind of looks like a toy, but as you look a little bit more closer, it seems too involved to be a toy. There was the severed head that was encased in similar crystal that you found when you were exploring that city on the surface of Hypnos. And then there were a series of personal items like a hairbrush, a necklace with colorful crystals, a pair of homemade furry slippers, a carving that was in flat stone depicting stars over top grassland, and a shank made from a large animal tooth. So all of that is basically the stuff that you collected. So I gave you the full list of everything that's in there. And then obviously you got your normal equipment. So we're going to say that we have been traveling through the, from Cerberus back to Haven, which is going to take like about a month or so. And so you guys spent some of the last session kind of going through some odds and ends. I'll do a quick round. Is there anything else that you all would have done on the ship before coming back to the Alabaster stations in the Haven system? So last call. Anything else that you wanted to do, say, over like the last week of travel time?
Yeah.
Anything else? Go ahead, Dr. T.
Well, we got that severed head.
Yeah.
And I'm not finding in my notes what this like. I want to say Mon Calamari, but it wasn't a squid. It was a moon head thing.
No, Mondian.
Mondian.
Yes.
I was close in the way the words sound.
They do sound similar because they have an M and
They
an
start the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to take a core sample, see if I can get to some of the, the jelly filling.
Okay. So if that's the case, if you're going to try to interact with that, that's going to require a test. So in a spare time point. Extensive study of this is going to require 1T, and hang on, it's going to be a difficulty 14 medicine test.
Okay. You said medicine test?
Medicine. Medicine right off the bat.
Okay. Not a problem. I've got the spare time point. I'll give you a 16.
All right, perfect. So, are you good with 16? Did you want to try to push for? Okay. So the head.
I got a 16.
Okay, fair enough. I thought you were a doctor. What are you doing? Okay.
I'm a doctor with terrible
Doctor.
degrees.
Where are your degrees from? Okay,
Hey,
so
everybody.
University of Space Phoenix.
Anyone can print them out.
I like to think it his wherever he keeps his room on the ship. It's just University of Phoenix things and DeVry, space DeVry, that kind of stuff. All right. Okay, so the head, it's well preserved, crystalline compound, looks to be a Mondian based upon everyone's understanding of the Mondian species. No living Mondian exists as far as anyone knows. They were actually wiped out by your people, Dr. T, during the Great War, as Nephilim actually destroyed them. Not your archgenocrat, but a different archgenocrat. Was kind of sent and sort of orchestrated, or at least was the general of their destruction. And so effectively genocide or extinction, however you want to refer to it as. And so as far as you know, there's none of these living. And there's plenty of ruins that have been discovered here and there in the Cerberus system where kills from. There's some ruins on which some of the Legion built some of their cities atop of. There's some various observation centers. So there's a lot of like tech and stuff that has been left behind, but not this. This is like a big thing here. And so this one looks to be like it's got that tall, narrow head. The forehead's a little bit more pronounced. The chin is a little bit more pronounced, very narrow. And you can see that there are at least tufts of like brown gray fur on the sides, almost kind of has like a wrinkled grandfatherly look to it. You spend a lot of time with it. So I'll say, first of all, one of the things you're going to get is one knowledge. So you're going to get just a flat up one knowledge from this. And what this is essentially is going to represent is kind of an understanding of like their brain chemistry.
Okay.
And it's not a whole lot different from other cultures and things. So it's not like this is some biology that is radically different than anyone else's. But considering like the differences, say, between like Kautorans and Corp and stuff like that, and how ancestral memory versus normal memory, a little bit different, right? And then people like Zatek with Zhou, biology is a little different, and then Palantor, etc. So it looks to be a little bit more in line with, say, Legion, Fergarshan, and that sort of stem. The other thing you do though is during that time, as you're like kind of carefully drilling into the crystal, removing the head as best you can from the crystal, or at least keeping it maybe in the crystal and then just drilling in and recovering.
Yeah.
You actually notice through one of your scans, as you start to peel away some of the layers of crystal, that there is some sort of infantine, like really, really small microchip, like ultra small, embedded in the brain. Now, if you would like to try to extract it,
yeah,
that is going to require biotech.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I would like to extract that. So yes,
okay.
I will attempt that. Let's see how many grit I have to spend.
Excellent. You know who's not spending grit? Jita.
Okay. I pulled an 11. Definitely going to grit that.
Okay. It's going to be a 14.
Do you have a workshop bonus?
Yes, don't forget. That's right. You have a biotech workshop.
Oh, what is that? That's a 2 bonus?
+1.
+1.
Okay. So it is a 15. I did roll a 6 and a 1, so I'm going to use that 6 to effort that 1.
Excellent.
And that becomes a 5, so that's 19.
19 is fantastic. Okay, so as you, and this is all over the course of like a week, like between studying, scanning, etc. Eventually you are able to, in like the days as you maybe come into the Haven system, but you're still sort of traveling through the system back to the Alabaster stations, you manage to extract that chip, and then you kind of plug it into your systems. Maybe you get your new Palantor sentient computer to kind of help you with some of the analysis of it. And first, the data on this thing, like the amount of data that's stored in such a small, tiny chip, is kind of honestly pretty remarkable. Like the size of it relative to the amount of data on it seems almost absurd, almost like on the kind of a quantum level. But even more interestingly, as you're digging through it and you're looking at some of the way in which this thing seems to be sending out various signals, or attempting to send various signals out to different neuropaths inside the brain, you would probably conclude that they're attempting some sort of technological or biotechnical attempt at ancestral memory. The same way that the Kautorans have it innately, they were trying to apparently manufacture it. And from what you can tell, they might have been successful. It's going to require, I mean, it's hard to tell for sure until you find a duplicate brain of this sort of breakout to sort of test it on. But it certainly looks like they might have attempted to do that in a biotechnical fashion. And there's probably a ton of memory stored on this.
Okay. So I've got genetic material and I've got a tiny chip with memories. So I just need to get onto my cloning skills.
Okay. Anybody else doing anything in that last week during their time on the station, or the time on the ship?
There are a couple of things that I want to do, but because I think like at least half of them can just be resolved by rolls. So if there's anybody else that wants to do stuff,
we can go. Let's go through them.
You're good.
Yeah, let's just go through them. What do you got? We'll see what we can get done.
Couple of things that I said. First is that I need to get healed up. I need to get healed.
That's true, but Dr. T just spent a very intensive week of study on this head in his workshops. So if anybody else wants to actually give Maya a hand in trying to patch her up, we can say somebody else gives her a hand.
I don't think anyone else is medically
Okay.
inclined.
So then what we'll say is
to medicine and 0 grit rerolls.
I'll buy the services when we get on to Alabaster.
I have biotech, but not medicine.
Okay, so what we'll say then is Dr. T can lend you his medical talents. However, all of his rolls are going to be at -2 because he's doing it in between these study sessions. And so he's maybe...
I'm just throwing syringes at you. I'm not even giving you proper shots.
Amazing.
Okay.
It's okay. I could just buy the.
You're already in my office eating up my air. That's a 15.
Okay. All right. So, and you're doing this is, yeah. So you're doing this to get attribute damage back, I presume.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So spend a spare time point.
Okay.
Okay, so Maya, spend a spare time point. So I said it, and so though you can repair. So with the success, you can repair 3 attribute damage.
Amazing.
Okay. Do you need more?
I could use one more, but it's okay. That I can I'll buy that at the when we're down on Alabaster.
Okay. All right.
Listen, I'm gladly to perform medicine while barely paying attention.
He has multiple tentacles.
Yeah, I got so many tentacles.
It's okay. It's alright. So that's one. The other thing is, I want to check out that data pad.
Sure.
The notes I have from last time is that it's a culture roll.
Yes. So taking a look at this data pad. It's non-standard design. It does not look consistent with anything of Corp design, Vargartian, Kaltoran, like kind of slapstick design, anything Palantor, anything Nephilim. Like it does not seem to align with any of sort of the design standards of common Corp companies and just cultural companies. And as you mess around with it, you realize there is this kind of honeycomb kind of interface, right? If you think about the way our keyboards are laid out, in like this sort of horizontal way, QWERTY style. This has like more of this round shape. Everything seems to have that kind of design. And in some cases, it seems not just 2-dimensional, but sort of curved and 3-dimensional. And just kind of sort of messing around with it here and there, it seems to project this face that is effectively like this digital recreation of a Mondian face. It's more like a hologram than anything, which isn't. You've all seen holograms. So this is going to require a culture 14T. So it's going to take a spare time point, culture roll, and a difficulty of 14, and it will take up the bulk of your final week. If you have one more minor thing,
the last thing I wanted to do was just a quick conversation with Kill. That'll probably take like 10 minutes in game time, and like 2 minutes in real time. So I've spent the spare time point, and it's 14 difficulty. I rolled a 17.
Okay, so as you're messing around with it, Maya, you realize that it seems to be some sort of training program, and it's slow going at first because it's sort of like asking for input. So it sort of prompts, this hologram head prompts, and then kind of waits and just seems to hang. And maybe once or twice you think it's broken, but it's not broken. It's waiting for input. And you kind of mess around and kind of poke with things on that sort of hexagon, that honeycomb interface. But that never seems to do anything. Every now and then it'll just reset. And then you just kind of get this hunch to start verbally repeating, and you do. And then it seems to move on to the next thing. And then there's like another shift and change as the holograph displays, and then it says a couple string of sounds, and you repeat those sounds, and it kind of goes to the next thing and then the next things. And each time you notice that every time there's like a new audible string, and one of those small little honeycomb quarters, there's an image of something. And you realize it's teaching you a language. And so what you're essentially going to be able to do, so you're going to get 1 knowledge point here, and that's effectively going to represent a relatively fluent understanding of some basic Mondian dialects. Like you're not You know, you didn't. It's not the Matrix. You didn't plug in and get it. Like, you've learned it, but you could probably.
Fuck, that's so cool.
You could probably ask where the library is and where the bathroom is.
Yes.
It's the cheese.
So-
moldy.
Hell.
So go ahead and add that to your languages.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Oh, that's so dope.
Okay. So did anybody have any other tasks that they wanted to try to accomplish? Any studying they wanted to do? Something like that.
I wanted to work with Zateus, our Palantor friend, and get like, I don't know, like a shopping list, and figure out, because eventually I want to get his body rebuilt. That's why he's in our ship. So I want to see if there's something we can rig together, that stuff that we have already, or what we need to do whenever we land or go somewhere, like what I need to keep an eye out for to eventually get him back in a form.
Gotcha. So you definitely don't have anything on the ship that you could possibly use for it. The best thing you could possibly do is rig one of your communicator's data pads to essentially bring him with you so that he can like remote tap into it. It'll have a limited range, but while you're exploring the stations, he can certainly kind of beam himself from the computer system on the ship into a data pad or into an earpiece, something like that. In terms of a physical body, that's going to be way more complicated and way more difficult, as there are some Palantor that never get access to bodies. Some Palantor, like, because there's a limited amount that they have. It's a complex kind of like biotechnical process to sort of fabricate them and build them and clean them and make sure they're not going to have any trouble, and that they're not going to kind of just stolen by like mechanids that are sort of working around in the network as well. So that's going to be something that it's more along the lines of you kind of petitioning various Palantor contacts, trying to like kind of get them on a waiting list for like organ donation, so to speak. I will, however, say, give me a culture test, Zatek, and I'll give you a +1 because of who you are and that you're working specifically with Zateus.
All right. 19.
Okay. So you know that there have been reports that Flesh Inc., which is a company that produces these flesh workers, they're these big kind of fleshy machines, labor. There's rumors that they may have kind of co-opted, stolen, repurposed some like Palantor tech and knowledge to kind of help create these things. And there's definitely been some kind of black market, desperate attempts to try to occasionally put a Palantor consciousness into like a modified version of those. But most of the time it's been fairly disastrous because of the limited like cognitive capabilities of the flesh robots versus the complexity of a Palantor mind, right? But you do know it's definitely possible, and they might have some of that tech.
Okay.
Okay.
And I get 2
All right. All right.
consequences from my thing.
Okay.
Does that take a spare time point to do all this?
That's not a spare time point. I don't think that's not a deep, intense study. Any of the items that you guys broke out of the rocks, with the exception of the homemade items, so like the nav crystals, the data pad, the severed head, the orb, and the machine, those all would take a spare time point to invest time and
probably
studying.
Invest another spare time point into figuring out this orb thing then.
Okay. Last time around, I think I gave you so you learned how to play it. You realized it was some sort of sonic array. I think you got some sort of, did you get the lullaby? Is that what I gave you last time?
Yeah, there's like one song I learned, and it seemed to like recall memories when I played it. And I remember some scene of us like at a campfire or something like that. And
right. Roll another electronics test. Difficulty of 14. Another spare time point.
Okay.
And this is essentially to see if you can learn another song on this thing.
We have an electronics workshop on the ship.
I don't think we have an electronics workshop. Yeah, I have it in the handouts in Foundry. You should see it under handouts folder. There's the POS Chad. So you've got... Yeah, no, you've got a biotech workshop, astronomy workshop, and a medicine workshop currently.
Okay.
The
Astronomy
garden
is-
arboretum technically is our biotech. Your astrometrics lab is astronomy, and then the stasis chambers is technically your medicine. Do you have room for more, though, when we get back to the stations?
Okay. I want to invest in electronics whenever we get somewhere. So I just get +1 then.
Zatek is just like, our computers are so old. Can we like get
And
new ones,
Zateas is like,
please?
I beg your pardon, Zatek. I am your computers. Are you calling me old and slow?
No, but
Yeah, he
he'd be
was.
better off.
I think
agree.
the mushroom told him to do it.
I dislike the
Okay.
mushroom. He has been a
I
very
gotta-
bad influence on Zatek.
I agree entirely.
What the fuck is this one talking about? Who is this piece of shit?
Okay, 15.
Okay. Dude, he's not even paying attention. All right, 15. Okay, so
I
the
can
last
only
time
do one
you
thing at a
learned,
time.
as you started playing this new song, you realize that it kind of helps trigger, or at least brought to your mind, a memory, maybe in a dream, maybe in the moment specifically, of this scene around a campfire, somebody talking or singing or humming from across the fire. This time around, however, you start playing and you realize the song that you're starting to figure out, the movement of notes. You notice that as you do, like each of these little kind of compartments of the honeycomb kind of shift and merge, and you notice there's like extra layers to it. So like as you sort of slide and push on like a key, it slides and reveals a key underneath, and you realize it's an actually far more complicated instrument than you realize. It's almost like an onion with layers, these shifting levels, and like you kind of press these small little buttons. And in doing so, you start to realize you get these different tones in this different song, and it's much sadder. It's very much like a dirge. And as you start playing it, you again have this moment where your head sort of swirls, and you have to sort of steady yourself. You sit down, you start playing through the dirge some more, and you feel yourself kind of going through as a memory from your time, perhaps on Hypnos, or maybe something someone left for whatever reason, you're not sure, but a memory seems to come back to you of what almost appears like a funeral scene to you. And you can see this headless body laying on this kind of cold ground. It's wrapped in these crude linens, and you can see there is a grave that you see Kill, and you see Dr. T and Maya and Jita, you're all kind of reaching down, grabbing a piece of this wrapped up body, and you're placing it into this grave, this kind of blue-gray dirt. And you see all of you are sort of sweeping this dirt over top of it. And all the while, you can kind of hear the sounds of that dirge kind of playing. And the last thing you notice is, like, as you look down at the graves, that in your own hand is this orb. And you realize your hand's just sort of almost mindlessly moving about on it in your little memory here, as if it's playing that sound, that song. So you've learned 2 songs now. Okay.
In that grave, in this memory, do I see all those little keepsakes? Because I had another
You do.
flashback about a grave and these
Yes.
keepsake things of.
You see the exact same things. Yes, you see the same keepsakes kind of lined up here and there. There's like a bullet and a couple other things that are kind of lined up on this makeshift kind of headstone. It's made. It's self-made. It's like you found like a big rock and kind of shaved it down a bit, and that's that. Okay. Very good, Jita.
Yes. You throw some astronav crystals Jita's way, and Jita is going to spend some time looking at those astronav crystals in the
Okay.
astronomy lab.
Okay. Some are intact, some are broken. This is still going to require an astronomy 14T. And so difficulty of 14, spend a spare time point. And if you do well, I have something fun to show you. If you do poorly, then you just ruin the stream, Melissa.
I know, and I have no grit to reroll a poor roll, so there's no
Jeez.
pressure on this at all.
I wonder if there's any audience dice that you can pull from.
Let's just like, oh yes, we have,
Yeah.
Okay, so I have and it's a +2 for the workshop.
For a workshop,
+1 for
I
the
always
workshop.
forget. I always get the workshop and the toolbox confused.
Joe, you
Let me
just
look.
did this. What did you have?
+1.
Joe told me
for-
one.
One for the workshop.
Okay.
It's +1 for a workshop.
Yep.
Okay. So, all right. Let's give this a roll. I've got a 6 for my astronomy plus the workshop.
How could you possibly fail? You get a 6 on this. You get a +6 on this. It's crazy.
I
I
do
don't have more than a
um,
+2 on anything.
Is that even allowed?
got-
Is that even? Isn't there a cap?
I
There's
have
gotta be a
minus
cap in this
2s
game.
on most things.
I'm looking at her sheet right now. Look at all this
who do you know?
cheating. Oh, there's inner balance, which she had, now suddenly doesn't have.
And the
Cheating.
G to 3 version of my character sheet has it crossed out. But I
Uh-huh.
left it there to show this was the thing I did and it was wrong.
She has like
I guess
17 other character sheets. She just pulls them out for different
15.
episodes. 15. All right. So you've already kind of gotten some glimpses at some of this before. And historically, there
sorry.
is.
I'm sorry, it's 14. Sorry. I realized
Still a pass.
the workshop is already calculated into the 6.
Mhm,
So
to the 6, yeah. You still pass. You're still fine. Spend a spare time point, etc. So you've already kind of gotten a glimpse at some of this before during the initial study of the one that was on Franklin's back, and it's basically the same tech. Obviously, they're kept in different condition, but you can take 1 point of knowledge, so 1 can, and this is essentially representing a very deep navigational knowledge of the entire Mondian nation, like the space of it. And you realize as you start going through some of it and you are kind of cross-checking it, maybe with Zateus bringing up the information that you have on your ship, that's all logged, like the known sectors, the known systems that were within the Mondian nation. And so things like Cerberus, Kasuf, Kull, LAX2I, NIL3R, these are all names of systems. So and so there's several of those. But then you realize, in addition to those systems with which you have now even more extensive knowledge of various Mondian installations, like stations, research stations, satellites, etc. That's partially what's on those nav crystals. You also see a lot of systems that didn't pop up on the known sectors, these unknown. And I'm going to draw all your attention, see if I can do this correctly, to our sector map. You can all see the sector map, right?
yes, we can.
Okay, so you all are currently traveling very close to Haven. So we're in the kind of the last leg before we get to Haven. So I'm going to now do a little thing. And you should now see on the map these various images starting to pop up in these swirls. These are all of the systems that you have extensive nav data on. Now, some of these are known systems. I didn't do Cerberus because you've already been to Cerberus, but I'll ping a few for you. So LAX21 or 2I. You know what? I actually think I have the map. I'll pull the map up so other people can see it too. People on stream.
Nice.
I hate that airport.
Wow, this guy. The jokes over here. Okay. He turns 22 and suddenly he thinks he's just a jokester, this guy. Okay.
He turned 21. That was the 8th anniversary of his 21.
I don't understand how he turned 21 last year and he turns 21 again this year. That's some
Listen,
bullshit.
you all are you're misremembering. This is Joe's first 21.
What kind of asshole gaslights their friends, Chuck? What the hell, man?
I'm looking at him on the stream right there.
Okay, so you notice that of the unknown ones, Jita, there's a few that are both along the Halo Nebula and within the Halo Nebula relative to current known astronavigational data. So you have like deep information about some of these sites and some of these places, and it's not just like the nav data, but it's specific installations. And you do notice that many of these known places and a lot of these installations seem to be on planets with extremely inhospitable conditions. The type of conditions that would not be survivable to really any of you, like even Zatek. Like, these things are so extreme in some cases. And whether it's cold, whether it's volcanic, whether it's pressure, whether it's lack of atmosphere, like a lot of these things are in these really extreme locations. And this looks like it's a map of places that Mondians either did or were planning to construct various installations. Okay.
And Jita is just like in heaven in her little astronomy lab, just doing her thing, looking at all of this stuff and like learning things that she doesn't think other people know. And so she's super excited about all of that. And she and her Farron are on they're vibing better than they were last episode, because last episode they were not doing too well.
Yeah. You were taking some liberties with your Farron.
That was,
and they didn't particularly care for it.
Jita was blaming.
So that was much of Jita's final week in travel. So Kill, anything you're doing in this final week?
I mean, everybody else is being so productive. I'm going to be very selfish because, with all the mind game, nonsense that's went on recently, he has some doubts about what he does and doesn't remember. And the situation with the Memling was kind of weird to like have some old memories resurface. So at some point, when he's pretty sure that it's private and he doesn't think somebody's going to come in, he's doing some meditation, some stretching. I don't think he has a lot of like sentimental keepsakes, but if he does have something from Sonu, from Maya's mom, at some point he's going to try and hold on to that and try and focus on that while he's doing meditation and maybe basically petting the cat, just to see if maybe some memory sparks to try and see if he can get a real memory of what happened with her. Because there's a part of him that's worried like his memory of it is potentially skewed and wrong. And he is at his heart a sappy old man.
Give me a resolve test.
Okay.
Difficulty 14.
All right. Okay. Well, that will get me to a 12 plus 3, 15.
Okay. So I'm going to assume this is not the entirety of the time, as this doesn't seem like a full investment.
No, but like
so
it's
we'll
just
say this is
because
a day every now and then. Maybe
I don't know if there's
at
like
night.
a time frame, and he doesn't really know how to focus it. It's not like he knows how to like press a button and make the Memling do the thing. So it's just kind of like,
okay, so we're in your quarters, so to speak. Like you don't. Your ship doesn't have individual quarters for everybody. Some of you bunk up. Some of you have sort of found your own segment of the ship to sort of make into your place. So I think you were like down by the engineering area. Yeah. And so, or actually, there's also your turret.
There's the old man chair where the turret would be, basically.
Because you're the one with your own room, right, Kill?
Yeah, that's what I remember. Is the rest of us like bunk up together?
I've got my own
has
room.
his own room.
Gil's got a cubby in the engineering compartment. The rest of you are all bunking up like peasants. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
I see. That's. How
that
did this decision get made again? I'm not remembering exactly how this decision
He has advanced degrees.
I have advanced degrees, and I produce a lot of
From space to
in
bright.
my sleep. Like I gotta shed the outer layers when I sleep, and it's a lot of slime. Like it's
that's right. No one wants to bunk with you. That's how this decision got made.
It's just like projectile hagfish slime. That's all it is.
Molting hard tea might be the only way you could be grosser.
All right. So Kill,
Iron molts without an exoskeleton.
You're sitting in your old man chair. You've got Goro 2 on your lap. You're running some basic weapons diagnostic and just sort of waiting for it to kind of funnel through. It's pretty standard stuff. Nothing's popped up. Maybe it's the third or fourth time you've run this diagnostic, and you're just sitting there and you're thinking back. And as you're doing so, you don't notice it, but if this was like a TV show we would see, that Goro 2's stalks begin to stand upright and start to kind of sway and sort of spiral and swirl. And Kill, you just continue to like aimlessly pet the back. And you find yourself sort of drifting off. You hear the sound of a door opening, like a space door. And you kind of turn around, you swing your chair around, and you see not anyone from the crew coming in to the room that you're in, but you see like yourself kind of walking through, and you see like you're in this sort of shimmering gear, and you find yourself like in not in like the ship anymore, but like you've sort of transposed and you're in this sort of different location, and you are moving about some very high-end garish kind of. I mean, it looks sort of like a business office in a way. Like you can see offices, but they're really grandiose. Like the floor is marble. You can see the walls are like some kind of sort of semi-marble. You can see holographic displays, and these holographic displays are so frequently like shifting through. It looks like various high-end fashion brands, like all that seem to be subsidiary underneath, like Octanto Corp. And as you come in, like you sort of shimmer. You see yourself, but you're shimmering, and you realize as you kind of like tap a shoulder, you're in that same kind of Volp armor that you've seen your own contact in, or you've seen Ajax in, except it's yourself, and you're dressed in like this black gear. You look like a freaking assassin, Kill, and you're kind of trying to fix this little badge, like trying to get your clothing to work properly, and you're suddenly startled by the sounds of like giggling and laughter. And as you sneak over and sort of follow it a bit, like your shimmering, cloak kind of comes in again, and you look through this sort of frosted window that has all these little nano circuitry in it that's kind of reflecting all these different images. And you see that there is a man and a woman that are in this extraordinarily decorative office. Huge, beautiful like desks. You can see all sorts of these plush couches. You can see what looks like these gold mannequin stands, each wearing these colorful scarves and dresses and such. And you see that there's a man and a woman, and you can see that they're both sitting on this one couch. They're drinking. You can see this huge champagne flute of some kind, and they're laughing and flirting. And you can see they're very handsy with one another. Like you can see every now and then, like the woman reaches and sort of fixes a section of the hair of the man, and he does the same thing to her. And every now and then you can see that they kind of lean in, kiss, and they sort of nuzzle on one another. And as you're watching and you see them peel back at one point, like your screen, like your system breaks down again, and that frosted window suddenly registers you, and it changes to advertisement display because it now reads your presence, and it changes to display. And instead of it being all this beautiful clothing, it's just weapons gear, weapons gear, weapons gear, weapons gear. And you hear the sounds of a man, the man calling out, like, who's there? Who's there? And you realize, as you come out of that memory, that you're seeing, well, Maya's mother and Darcy Octanto, one of the heads of one of the big corp companies, having a little bit of a tryst inside of his office as Darcy comes running in your direction, and you quickly shimmer off. And then that's when you feel like a little bit of a purr, like a little bit of shift and a move, and you look down and you see Goro is kind of like shifting their body and kind of falling back asleep. I'll tell you this though, Kill, with your history, give me a what do I want? Give me like a culture roll maybe, or
okay.
Yeah, give me like a culture roll.
Yeah, that's a -2, but that's all right. Well, that's not 3 ones, but it's 2 ones and a 5. I'm going to spin a grit because I would like a chance.
Yeah. And you have grit too, because you remembered some very useful things.
Huh? Oh, having grit's so good.
It's great.
Oh,
It's
that sounds
amazing.
so good for you.
Almost as good as
sad.
It
Benny's.
really
right?
is.
Yeah,
okay, so-
almost.
Well, my dice got me up to a 13, which is pretty
I'll take it.
good. But then
13,
there's
I'll
the
take.
-2, which takes me down to an 11. Because culture is not one of my things.
Okay. I'll give you, we'll do a fail forward. You're fairly confident, judging from that situation. You were sent to kill someone. You're just not necessarily sure which one of them you were sent to kill.
Well, this memory just got even worse. Okay, so Kill doesn't talk to anybody for a while.
Okay. All right. So, anything else for Jason? For Kill? Anything else for Kill?
No, I think
Okay.
he's just going to be very sullen and fill his time with busy work and try to avoid people for the next few days.
Well, all right then. And I think everyone has done something extensive. Maya, did you wanted to? You said you wanted to try to talk to him at some point.
To have a conversation with him, but given how he's in thick of the piss vinegar mood, I think she's gonna start
Of
by
course.
Kill you've been really sort of in a bad way the last couple days, but I was hoping to speak to you.
Oh, yeah, of course. I've always got a minute for you. Of course.
Yeah, listen,
Sure. I'm sorry. It's just my head's been in a funny place because of the whole.
Actually,
thing.
that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about. And Kill knows that Maya is probably even worse at this than he is because she learned how to talk about feelings from him. So
I'm sorry.
potentially she is even worse than he is. And so she is kind of hemming and hawing and very much not looking at you. And in her hands she has her what she usually wears as her armor, which is the Arctic MK3 haze mesh suit. And she's holding the armor, and she says, she's like, I need to tune up the armor, and I was hoping you could help me with it, but I know that you, and she's very specifically not looking at you.
I mean, if there's an issue with it, you've got to be prepared before things happen. So we need to fix this right now, of course.
I know. So here's the thing. When I was worried about Ajax and when we're going down to Hypnos, I was thinking that maybe, what if this wasn't the right armor for me, but it's the armor I had, so maybe, it kind of doesn't matter about the armor I don't have, and it's much more important to appreciate the armor I do have, and I
Gotcha. So we'll fix
guess
this since we have a chance to buy some
realized
new
I
armor.
loved this armor, and it doesn't matter if I don't have other armor, because I don't even know if the other armor exists. Yeah. Anyway, I just really love this armor, I guess.
Okay.
That's all.
it's, good to appreciate something, even if maybe, it's not exactly what you expected or anticipated, because, a lot of times we get stuck with things that aren't exactly what we planned for. So that seems like a really healthy way
I know
to handle
I've
that.
kind of thought that, I know I've told this armor, hey, you're not as good as real armor and maybe you should back off, but that's like really terrible, and I probably won't ever say that again, because this armor has really been there for me, and I think it's probably time for me to be there for this armor.
Can we just for a second pretend, I know you don't like when I make fun of myself and I pretend like, oh, I'm so dumb, and I know you don't like that, but for just a second, assume that I'm not really good at double talk, and maybe I'm thinking maybe this isn't about armor, and I don't know if you're talking about me or Ajax or who, but I love you. I want you to be happy. If this is about Ajax, then I support that. If this is about me, then of course I'm there for you no matter what. But let's just pretend I'm dumb enough to not fully understand the double talk.
Pretty much nothing, and just no, it's not about Ajax.
Okay.
It's not about my armor.
I don't know. You're young and he's, all fancy and cool, and that's it is what it is.
Okay, but it's not about Ajax. And
okay.
She kind of launches herself at him and hugs him.
You're my favorite armor, I think, is what this is about, right?
Yes.
Okay. I got it. I did it.
And then we will wordlessly help him clean up his mechanics workshop, which I assume is covered with threaded bolts and tools and shit.
Broken down weapons and parts and stuff.
Together. Yeah.
Quality time taking apart and putting back together your guns and armor. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Okay. Eventually, it's a long 4-week travel. You all did pretty much the entirety of it outside of cryo, which means you've used up effectively all of your rations. There's no food left. You are literally dry of food. There's nothing, you've recycled the water over and over again, but eventually you find yourselves pulling in to Haven. You kind of go through the Liberty Belt a bit, kind of take some easy lanes of traffic, and you find yourselves approaching Alabaster. Alabaster is called Alabaster because it's a massive white ball in the middle of this, not in the middle, in this system. It's sort of the equivalent of Jupiter, right? Except it's white, and it was renamed Alabaster by the Corp, because that's what they do. They just rename things. It had a different name, but now it's effectively known as Alabaster. Now, it's a gas giant, so no one goes onto the planet. Instead, there are these enormous, almost planet-sized, not planet-sized, it's maybe overstating it, but almost moon-sized stations, 6 of them in particular, that orbit this huge planet, and this is the sort of the headquarters of the Corp. This is where their board of management, which is their primary government, that's Alabaster 1. All of their highest, richest, most wealthy, luxurious folk are on Alabaster 1, which is also known as Core. Alabaster 2 is new money, so it's still extremely rich people, but it's a little bit different. There's envy that kind of goes on, rivalry that goes on. There's also this spirit of kind of pushing the boundaries to try to prove yourself. So there's been this, there's a lot more willingness to do weird kind of testing and such, and kind of cut through red tape kind of deal. And that's called Glass or just Alabaster 2. Also, where very rich folks congregate. Alabaster 3, I know Dr. T are interested in Alabaster 3. That was once a very bustling commuter hub, but a terrorist attack, which most folks, and this is all common knowledge, most folks presume it to have been Kaltorn extremist response after like one of their holy sites in the Liberty Belt was destroyed. But I think Dre mining, one of the corps, like the common thought is that they did this chemical attack on this station as retribution, and effectively this station is still under a great deal of quarantine, although there are portions that have started to open up here and there. That one's just Alabaster 3. Alabaster 4, the name for this one, the nickname for this is Stink. This is sort of like the industrial center. This is where deuterium is effectively processed, turned from fuel into carbon, and this is also, or is turned into fuel, and then also where like carbon is turned into synth steel, which is like a primary material in so much of what you all use. But it creates this like terrible odor. And so anyone who goes onto that station, you just kind of get used to it. And if you're only there for a short period of time and you leave, it's stuck on your clothes and such for a long time afterwards. And there's also a very massive prison facility that extends around the outer ring of that station as well. Pinnacle Fuel and Dre Mining are pretty common over there. Alabaster 5 is where the Haven Var Gate is nestled, and so the station kind of encircles it basically, and it's probably the place that you all would go to first, because this is the most kind of metropolitan, most accessible, and in terms of cost, far more affordable for pretty much everyone here except for maybe Maya. Far more affordable, and this is where you get a lot of people doing trade, looking for jobs, etc., etc. So this is like the bustling trade and sort of transit hub. So as you all approach, there's all sorts of like lanes and such are being redirected. There's various sort of station commuter travel between each of these huge stations as well. So even if you don't, even if you park the ship in one place, you can still catch a commuter bus over to a different station if you're interested. And so you don't have to just fly the ship around together all the time. So what we'll say is, for now, and then you guys can spread out and do whatever the hell you want, we're going to say the ship gets its approval. You are assigned a specific dock, sort of a docking area within Alabaster 5. You are redirected by traffic control to avoid various jump gate traffic. As you see, there are these big freighters that are moving through it. You can see that there's space trains where all this different cargo is coming out and coming in. Maybe you even have to wait, and you literally watch as like 100 cargo train ship just suddenly emerges, and you have to kind of wait for it to pass. But eventually you all park. Whatever lockdowns in the ship that you normally want to do, you do, and you are now on the Alabaster station, having been gone at this point for something like 180 to 200 days. It's the last time you were in. So almost more than half a year you've been gone from Haven. So I'm going to turn it over to you all. More time. Just do this. You can kind of stick together. You can split it up. What are you guys doing here?
Well, there's a fantastic quarantine station that's just got ripe for unethical scientific experimentation written all over it. And I would really like to go there, but I think we need to go to we probably got to get permission.
It would depend on what you tried to do. There, you would know, I'll say, like, this is probably common knowledge. You've been here before. You know that there are portions of Alabaster 3 that are accessible, but then there are still portions of Alabaster 3 that are completely and utterly quarantined. Trying to get past those quarantines and into those other places, like, that's the type of thing like you would have to sort of kind of go through a whole mess load of tape to get through there.
I don't want the tourist Alabaster 3. I want the real frontier of sketchy science Alabaster 3.
Okay. If that's the case, then you would know that probably your best way of getting any kind of access to the station, to that station, to any kind of places beyond what's publicly available would be trying to get your embassy to give you access. And so the Nephilim, as on Alabaster 1. Now, normally Alabaster 1 is just like entirely rich folk, and it was built by Nephilim. It was built by Nephilim and I think Palantor, but there's really like no real sign of those things anymore because like the corp has taken it over and sort of made it themselves. But they have left an embassy there because of various reasons. So you could potentially try to
Eden Brood.
petition access.
And Maya's mom actually lives on one. Sanvi lives on one, and Maya was definitely gonna go visit, so we could head up there together.
Yeah, absolutely. One of us will have
Hill,
what it takes to get onto Alabaster 1.
Would you like to come?
Whatever you want.
Doesn't sound very
you can like
enthusiastic
go
when your
shopping
daughter's-
and like I'll hold your bag or
No,
something.
Oh, that's better.
There's just an art gallery. I want to go to 1-5 later, but you know, if you want to go to one,
I mean, you said art gallery. I think Jita, that's right up your alley. Like,
yeah.
What was that
colors and
cheesy old
stuff.
vid you used to like, As You Wish or something like that?
I don't know. what
Are you
you're
talking about
And-
the Princess Bride?
She sticks her head out of her astronomy workshop and is like, over there. Oh, I guess I should probably get cleaned up. Yes, yep. I'll come. I'll come.
Oh, that's
and-
great. I gotta find a data hall or two and ship this note off to Ajax so that can share around 5 if you guys want, because that'll probably be where it is. That's where my friend's gallery is. So I was gonna go.
I'm definitely gonna end up on 5 at one point. But yes, looking at art looks fun. There's, yes, that will be fun. Zatek, are we gonna make it all 5 of us going to the same place together?
Yeah,
And
you
we're
could
going
find
to
the
one
flesh
first.
pots here.
3 of us are going to one first, right?
Well,
Go
you've
for it.
convinced
Well,
all 5 of
4.
us to go to one first.
And Zatek.
Y'all
I
are
don't know how many he
welcome to
counts
go.
as.
Yep. Do you think you can buy those flesh pots here?
Wait, what?
If we
The
can't buy
flashing
them here,
robots, you can definitely get those on 5. It's a little bit difficult to find, like, just
Zatek, that might be
How
too-
old are you?
I was
Zatek?
thinking
Like,
about going to 2 at some point. So the 2 is more like the experimental place. So maybe.
Mm-hmm.
or you can
I need to
come
find one for
Two
Sateas.
is new money. 2 is like bougie new money. 3
come to
is
3 with me and I'll
experimental.
make you one.
Yeah. 4 is like the stink and whatever else, and that's probably where my zombie used to work because she was for critical fuel. And yeah.
All right. And I'm imagining this, and this probably doesn't match at all, but we're all like, if we fast forward to being on one, we're like, do we get there okay? And we're like walking
Okay.
arm in arm down the road.
All right, so all of you are deciding you want to head over to Alabaster 1.
Want is a strong word.
That you're willing begrudgingly to do it. Okay, so I'm going to need everybody to make a wealth test.
Oh no.
So you all probably can't afford, and I would say even Maya can't afford this, to dock your own ship for an extended period of time on Alabaster 1. So
I
more than
didn't expect that we were going to
Right.
crash up
So
there.
so yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Like what that means is you all are going to try to catch some transport over there, which isn't the cheapest. Like you're catching transport into like the richest part of town, without having any like without having any clear visible signs that you all are really meant to be there. Like you don't come across that way. You've all have been out in the wilds for some time. So everybody roll that wealth test and let's see how y'all do.
13, because I rolled a 6 and I got to do that again.
I got a 5.
10.
You got a 5? Okay. All right.
Do I get a
So I've
discount
got
for it being? I want to go to the embassy, like asylum, and I like bang it like the airplane terminal.
so
21 for my.
okay. So 21. Is that even mathematically possible?
I
Wow.
have a +3 on wealth.
You rolled
Actually, I'm
three.
really good with my.
You rolled 3
13.
sixes.
Yeah, and a +3.
You're hanging out with
Sweet.
Melissa too much.
So
You're hanging out with Melissa
notice
way
that she
too
didn't
much.
Roll in the table.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you. I agree. Okay, so you guys are going through your
How is that not?
customs.
Pod command is my pride and joy. The one that's like Melissa's is my pride and joy.
We're gonna have to add one. Melissa has had too much of an influence. Oh, there is. I don't really pay attention.
There's I don't remember what it is, but it's on there.
So we're gonna say you all hop into the bougiest space Uber that you can get after settling within Alabaster 5. You find a berth. You kind of pay what you can to maybe take up a week's worth of berth time, whatever it might be. They don't just. It's not like a hotel. You buy it by the hour. It's not that kind of place. Like it's a classy place, and you eventually find your way over. What?
Did you say birth time?
Yeah, birth time, like time in the birth of like the not birth like you're having a baby,
Birth with
but
an E.
BERTH, not BIRTH.
Okay.
Gotta turn off that doctor brain.
Yeah. I was.
Oh my.
Dear God. Yeah. Okay. So, but you get in the bougiest looking like space Uber, and as you're traveling across, you notice that you are sharing this shuttle with several suits and socialites. You can see there's folks that are literally doing update feeds. They're talking like these little groups of people who are talking about they're going to this place or that. You can see many of them are dressed in the finest attire. You can even see that there are styles that look new. So I'd say those of you who pay attention to this kind of thing, so maybe Maya, Jita, you would notice that there's certainly you've missed a couple seasons of fashion as the lines of various suits have changed. You can see that it looks to be like the new color is no longer black. And so Maya, you've got your usual black clothes on and you sort of stand out like a sore thumb, even though you look good relative to your crew. Like you still at the same time have kind of somewhat outdated fashion as everybody else has these like bright colors on here and there. You can see these little electrodes kind of filtering through some of the hems and the threads and such, and you can see that they're just kind of like these additives. It's like it's like getting your computer to have like all those running lights and stuff going through it. And so it just looks completely unnecessary. And you can see that they're all talking over and over about, this, that, or the other thing. Many of them are talking about like this art, what's it called? This art show that's happening at the Gilded Dividends. And so that seems to be like the big thing that everyone's talking about. And all of them are essentially doing their streams, showing like going to this place here and there. When you eventually get over to Alabaster 1, you go through like a customs center and security, and you can see that crew of people get through with a minor bit of like they actually have to stop. They get checked. You can see their credit rating is checked. You can see their bank accounts are checked. You can see their stream numbers are checked. All of these things are checked before they're let in, and they even show these very gorgeous holographic invitations to this gallery opening. Then you all come up. Maya, we'll say you're the first. And you can even see that even this small little booth where you can see a hardworking individual who is just pushing buttons as the various scanners are doing their work. They kind of look at you and they're like, little out of date with the dark cloak. Are you going to a funeral?
No, I've been off planet for a very long time. I'm just here to visit my mother, Sanbi Dianya.
And as you mention your mother's name, And as they finish scanning your credit rating and they look at your bank account and they see your name, they see your... Oh, of course, Mr. Yanyu. Welcome home. Welcome home. And you see like a doo-doo-doo, and like this holographic gate opens up and lets you through. But then it immediately...
So this is my crew, by the way.
And they... well...
I'll change the color of my armor to look like some of the people that we saw recently.
Okay. So, Kill, you come up next. And they look at you. They ask for your identification. They ask for banking account, routing numbers, all sorts of fancy things. And you change and like they kind of look you up and down like, oh, I see. Name, please?
Gold Krug.
Are you working?
I-L.
Yes, I have it. It's already scanned you. I have just confirming your identity. Oh, that's interesting. Do you go by any other aliases?
Not currently.
I have
It's been a long time.
a similar facial structure that seems to be in your bank accounts all seem to be, well, they seem to be aligned with an individual by the name of Basin John. Is that you? Got him.
God bless it.
Oh goodness.
I mean, I didn't want to
It
say it in
happens
front of
when
a
Jeff
kid.
doesn't prep because I'm so into it.
Oh, I prepped way too much. I really gotta stop. It's a problem.
Jordan.
I get the joke
Yes. Yes.
now. I had to hear it again.
Do you all? Is this your marital partner, perhaps?
I'm acquainted with her family. I really didn't. I wanted to keep it relatively quiet. I'm not really important here.
I see. Well, I suppose. Are you working security for one of the corps?
Yes,
What
I'm
is your
personal security
purpose?
detail for her.
For who?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have a kink in my neck, and I can't quite turn that way.
Oh, you know, actually,
I
I
can
know a
fix
really
that.
good stretch for that. If you can find a doorway,
Mr.
and he will legitimately try to show like a good stretch.
He's within a booth, so he says, Mr. John, please. Now, what did you roll in your wealth?
I got a 13, which is
13?
like really good for him.
Yeah. Well, enjoy your evening here. I should warn you that all of the various locales here are quite pricey. I do a little financial advisement on the side. I can tell you that for a celebratory evening, perhaps Alabaster One fits within your economic bracket, but I would suggest that you not spend more than one night, perhaps two here before you might see, generational damage done to your accounts.
Well, it's kind of you to think I could maybe handle a second night.
I
hope you
was
have a great rest of your
being
day.
polite. You as well.
I know.
Goodbye, Mr. John, Mr. Crow. Next.
Mason Jordan.
Oh, so Dr. T, you come up and you're kind of flying around.
Yep.
You got your 10. Oh goodness.
Hello.
Oh God.
I'm your unofficial embassy business. You need to admit me right away. I'm coming back from a humanitarian mission on Hypnos, and I've got things to report to the embassy. And yes, you are right. I am part of Doctors with Tentacles.
Oh my. How did you do your wealth roll?
I got a 5.
Okay, so then if that's the case, give me a as you do not check out. So go ahead, give me a persuasion test to see. And I'll tell you what, that's a really good story. So +2. You mentioned the right things.
So I'm rolling.
And we do have audience
6.
bits if you need to do like a single dice reroll
Doctors
Oh, it's a
with
single
tentacles.
after you roll.
Oh goodness.
I rolled a 9. Sure, I'll take a single audience thing.
There we go. Okay.
Oh, and I turned it into a 6.
There you
Oh,
go.
that's
Now you can reroll the other 2.
Can I do that? Does it work like that?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
What
because
are
you
you
rolled a
at?
6.
Are you at 12 already?
I'm at 13.
Okay, 13. So if you want to reroll something to see if you can get even higher, an unexpected consequence, you could do
I
that.
might roll lower. I'm gonna keep it.
Okay. So
Well, if you're at 13, you had a 2.
Oh.
The lowest you could roll is a 12.
he's right. but-
I'll find a way. It's like
okay.
what that guy from Jurassic Park said.
Mm-hmm.
Bad dice rolls find a way.
Oh, doctors with tentacles, you all do
Yes.
quite wonderful work. I've heard the stories. Oh, how wonderful. Were you part of that rabies outbreak? Were you helping to
I was there when it started.
Oh, goodness. I did
pushed
hear
the
rumors.
first teeth into flesh.
Oh, I did hear that it was possible that strain of rabies did come from feral Nephilim, and who better to track such an outbreak than a doctor from tentacles with tentacles,
Yes.
whatever it's called.
I
Yes.
spent a lot of time there.
Oh, wonderful. Well, you do excellent work. However, please make sure you don't stay too long. I must warn you that your your wealth is.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
mean to be
broke as fuck.
insulting.
I work for a non-profit medical organization. I know.
I'm sorry, non-profit.
Yes. That's why I have to go to the embassy.
You,
I will go to the embassy report and I will get off your planet so no one else sees any pores walking around.
you poor fool, non-profit. That is, well. They might do excellent humanitarian work, but there's no reason profit can't also be made from humanitarian work. Now, I have very several partners that I can. If you are you associated with the leadership of this organization?
I'm not, but me myself as a freelance medical agent, I am very much for profit. So,
Well, if you would be interested in having additional conversations about how we can change your non-profit model into a for-profit model, I have some excellent connections, and I'd be more than happy to make introductions.
that would
For
be fantastic. Why don't you set up a dinner?
oh, excellent! Do you eat?
Of course I eat.
Food like
Yes. I
Oh.
like fine wines, lobster. Caviar.
lobster. Isn't that a bit cannibalistic for one like yourself?
You think I'm an invertebrate?
Well,
Do you see any hard exoskeleton on this body?
I am so sorry, sir. I am so very sorry. After you. You are stamped and ready to go.
Thank you. And I float through the door.
No problem. Gina, let's say you come in next. You come walking up, looks down at you, hand over your, you go through your basic scan. All the while, those of you who are lingering and waiting, you're just being bombarded by advertisements. These these advertisements are just narrowing into your brain. It's like scanning you, getting into your brain, and then sort of projecting the things that you want most or that you've used recently. In some cases, there's doing biomedical scan. And if you've had any sort of specific brand of drink before and it's still in your system, shows up somewhere on a screen nearby. It's pretty
My
invasive.
needs get replaced.
Yes, fantastic. So Gita, you come up. How'd you do on your wealth roll?
13.
13. Oh, excellent. So, hello there, Miss Essence. It seems Gita Essence. Is that correct?
Yes.
What is your business on call?
Yes, as Ms. Dianu mentioned, we are part
I
of
still
her.
can't see who you're talking about. The neck is still very, very kinky.
Oh, yes. So 3 people before me, the corp that you saw through security, we are all visitors of hers and her mother's.
I see.
Dianu.
Oh, you are a guest of Miss Dianu. Are you attending the gathering this evening at the Gilded Dividends?
I believe we might make an appearance, as it were. And she's sort of like
yes.
looking around as if like that's the thing that she should say.
Well, one of... I would assume that you would be very, very welcome there. After all, Ms. Deo is, well, she's... And he kind of... His whole body turns and he looks briefly at Dr. T and he realizes that he might be saying something really... But she's one of you. No, I guess all Twide probably don't know one another. Yes. But, never mind. You're through.
No.
Stamp and you go through.
I love it. The security guard just gets awkward about his like not exactly racism, and so he just passes him through.
And she saw like the length of the conversation that was happening with Dr. T, and so she's just sort of like, oh, she just sort of relaxes. It was very quick.
And then Spork Face comes up. Zatek,
Mm-hmm.
he come waddling
I
up.
like to imagine this entire time he's been looking around and seeing everyone wearing like crazy outfits and stuff. He's just been kind of like picking and trying to arrange the scrap metal in his body to mimic that a little bit.
Body morph roll?
And yeah.
Give me a body
You
You
morph
got
roll.
this?
Yeah, you've had time. Absolutely.
Woof.
Sort of shifting and shaping, giving himself some sweet abs. Really fleshing out those
14.
deltoids. Okay, so when you step up, you have shifted and moved the various material on your clothing around in such a way that it's not, I mean, you're not necessarily like changing the color of your clothes, but you're sort of just making the cut better. Like it's hanging differently from the various parts of your body, so it looks more fitting, right? So maybe last year, like it was definitely like slim, sort of tight fit, but this year it's just, they're kind of going a little bit more in kind of this loose, sort of baggy sort of direction. It's sort of a retro 90s feel. And so like you've got your pants are a little bit, a little bit looser, a little baggier, and like you're kind of starting to mix here and there. And you take the extra time to get to maybe like jury rig some various little electronical diodes here and there to make it look like you have these little accessories as you step up. And how'd you do on your wealth score?
I got a 10.
Okay. I'll tell you what, because you've made such a change, I'm going to say go ahead and re-roll it, except this time take a +2, because now he's paying less attention perhaps to the scans of your accounts and more to yourself as he sees you pop up.
That's a 16.
There you go.
Well, hello there, sir. Or madam. What leans forward? What brings you to call this evening?
I was hoping to buy a flesh bot for one of my friends, but I'm also following all of the people that were ahead of me. Do you sell those here?
No, I'm sorry. This is a customs booth. It's just, we don't sell products.
Well, I meant after the booth, but yeah.
Well, I do have other revenue streams, but selling flesh bots is not one of them. As far as I know, the sale of those is highly regulated and not available for individual purchase. Are you a representative of a corporation or business?
Soon to be, yes, I suppose.
Perhaps you could find your way into a large-scale purchase with fleshing. Perhaps you might be able to get the regulatory paperwork eased through the process. With a look like that, I'm sure you'll have all the heads turning.
Well, thank you. And with that, I'll
Very
just
enamored.
like very quickly try to not have him check my
yes,
balance
yes.
of, like,
You're just so
nothing.
enamored with your beauty, and then boom, hits a thing. Oh, of course, where was my mind? After you. Oh my. And you just hear like a whistle as he totally catcalls as you walk past. Okay. So one by one, you all make it. Some of you with financial advice, some of you with scars, and you make it into core. You look around again. This is old money. This is the uppermost crust of the wealthy, and you can see that all around there is no element of your eyesight that isn't utterly consumed by elegance and by exorbitance, right? So you can see everywhere there's soaring skyscrapers. Once you get out of this sort of tunnel that leads from the dock where your Uber let out, and you get through this customs check, you eventually let out in this what looks initially like an open courtyard. But Maya, you've been here before. Dr. T, I'm sure you've been to the embassy before, so this isn't necessarily surprising to the two of you. You tried to kill Maya's mom here, so at least 3 of you have been here before. And so you move through this tunnel and you look up and you see just these absolutely impossibly tall soaring skyscrapers on, mind you, a space station. The streets are ridiculously opulent, gleaming. There's not a speck of like straight dirt or trash. You can see there's these automated cleaning drones here and there that are immediately cleaning up right off the bat as you walk through this open gate into this big old courtyard. You can see that the advertisements, you're just constantly getting hit left and right, but it also opens up onto these lavish shopping avenues. And you can see that the advertisements aren't just trying to tell you about products, but it's also redirecting you to various places. And you can see they almost look like marble bricks start to light up, and they kind of direct you as these like little paths to the various things. So you're talking about like knee replacements. You see the floor kind of light up and sort of direct you in a specific pathway, and the mileage and the average time based upon your current gait, it would take for you to get there. And so anyone who has like sort of consumed any kind of product within the last hour or two, it's sort of redirecting you in those different directions. So what would you all like to do while you're here?
Maya's beelining for where she thinks her mom is.
Sure. Okay.
How do I become a business?
It's a really, really good question.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't think that falls in my realm. Like, if you ask how never mind.
Okay.
Are we gonna see you, or are you going to the embassy, Dr. T?
Oh, I forgot all about the embassy.
That reminds me. Would the Silver Mask Pact have any locations here, or probably not?
Not probably on one, but on Alabaster, you might be able to encounter some of them. I don't think they're on one.
Okay.
So, but yeah, we can potentially hit up some contacts before you leave.
Okay. Yeah, I
right.
eventually want to run to one of those.
Okay. So Maya, if you're beelining for where your mother is, she doesn't live directly within the Smiling Spire, which is sort of the centralized location where the board of management for the corp meets. That all their penthouse chambers and such are up there. But she probably lives in sort of a neighboring building nearby, downtown sort of business district. And if the minute you kind of go over to a kiosk or something like that, it could light up the floor for you, but you also probably know your way around. However, Maya, give me an awareness test as you begin beelining in the direction of where your mother might live. And then the rest of you, while Maya's doing that, are you just following along with her, or did you have other tasks? Like, you are periodically getting very dirty looks from people who are dressed so much better than you all. But what would you be doing?
I would say that
Probably
Jita
following
is.
her.
Okay, so Zatek's following Maya. Jita, what are you doing?
Jita is going to be focusing on like art. So I'm imagining in a place like this, there's going to be like public sculptures and things like that. that are going to be out and about. And so like that's what she's looking for, is that, that's the thing that she loves, is sort of that like metal sculpture in a place like this is going to have spent oodles of money on like public art stuff.
So you do find very quickly this abstract construction, probably out of synth steel, you would think, gleaming chrome. It almost looks at first like you're about to go into another building, but as you get close to it, you realize it's sort of like this twisting, turning singular obelisk that sort of pushes out from one of the pathways that you're on. You see like what almost looks like an automated rickshaw just go past. There's this very rich couple that's kind of sitting on the back of it, while it seems to just be automated and moving, and you just see them pass by. As you're standing next to it, you're not there looking at it for more than 10 seconds before you are suddenly bombarded with all these advertisements around that's saying, enjoy modern art? Make sure you attend the gallery showings of Deo at the Gilded, the Gilded Dividends. And you can see advertisements pop up, and it shows a picture of what looks like a Twyfar. She's very, very kind of very beautiful, but also you can tell very colorful and moody. And every time she looks like her profile pic is kind of shown in sort of these different movements, and you can see it animates. And at no point does she ever really smile. She's wearing what looks like these colorful overalls, like coveralls basically. And you can see there's small little affixed pins here and there. And she's just sort of gesticulating to these various pieces of art that all look to be very similar to that. And when you look down at the base of this structure, you realize that the artist of this piece is in fact Deo, the same person that is being advertised. And so you're immediately hit with this guerrilla advertisement. So let's go back to Maya really quick. Maya, I said awareness?
17.
Maya, one of the things you notice as you're walking, as you're immediately being bombarded with all these different channels, that you might be out of practice. Normally you're so good at like channeling through it, putting off to the side this, that. You maybe don't notice it initially, but eventually it comes to you. There are all these different advertisement displays that are popping up for Octanto, and all of these sort of different designs, these different fashion designs, because Octanto is majorly on the surface at least is a fashion designer.
Yeah,
and you can see
what my nose.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. But you can see that they're all like every one of these ads. There seems to be this sort of ad campaign, or this cross promotional campaign with a socialite stream, and you can see like the top streamer of of the last 30 days, like kind of tracking the ranking system and stuff like that. And when you see it, like your name is no longer anywhere near kind of the top of the list, but it catches your attention is that the name that they're referencing is a woman by the name of Infernal Vanilla. And you can see every now and then her image pops up, and it's extremely dolled up, so much makeup, so much what looks like very subtle sort of cybernetic upgrades here and there. And you recognize her. It is Kara Mason from Miss Pasha, who you spoke with when you were back in Miss Pasha 1, who it seems to at some point has made some kind of connection with the Octanto industry in the past 4 months or so since you've been gone, and seems to have gotten some kind of cross promotional contract. Start going maybe through your feeds, and you realize as you look down at your own data pad, because you haven't really checked messages and such just yet, you've automated and sent all your streams out. But you start noticing as you go back through some of your streams that there are all of these kind of flagged promotional materials, this official messaging from various folks within Octanto Corp trying to offer you promotions. And you can see this is our last offer, and that last offer was 2 months ago, and it seems as though they went with somebody else.
She is fucking livid.
Okay.
Is on the way to her mom's place, does she know if she's gonna pass by the Octanto offices?
They're all sort of grouped to some degree downtown. Most of the major corps. Let me double check to see.
Okay.
The Octanto offices are in are basically in sort of the business district. So there's like business district, financial sector, the intersection, but the intersection is more like Arc Foundings and Steel Arms Depot.
Right.
But you would be able to find it.
She, in seeing this, she's gonna instantly have all of those feelings and then say to like, all right, I need to stop off at Octanto's offices for a minute, and then I'll go see my mom. You guys can come with me. If you know what, actually, don't come with me. I need to go, and I need to. I don't know what I need to. But I need to do something.
Are we causing trouble?
I don't. Not yet. But I can't show up to an office and ask them to remake me an offer with all of us there.
Or, just saying, you could show up with all of us there and we could help you make them an offer that they can't refuse.
Okay, well, that is giving me more reason to want to go without you. So
Is this a place where I could become a business?
No, it is not. Kill, can you please handle this? I need to go.
Oh, then yeah, you could go catch up with your mom, and I can stay here.
No, I'm
like
going to Octanto, and I'm going to ask them to remake me an offer, and then I'm going to go see my mom after. I haven't seen her for 6 months. What's another hour?
So it sounds like you're doubling up on getting your feelings hurt this.
They're not going to say no. You think they're going to say no?
No, of course not.
Have you seen your competition?
Oh my!
Totally
They're not
original
gonna say
spicy
no.
vanilla.
Okay. I need to go. This can't happen. This cannot happen.
Okay.
She's pointing aggressively to the board.
But
Okay.
while she's in there, let's think of as many ways to make fun of the name Infernal Vanilla as we can to cheer her
It's
up.
kind of like Divine Mocha, isn't it?
I wonder.
You know, I had
I wonder
noticed
if that's
that.
where
That's a
Maya
really
got
good
the
point,
name from.
Zatek. I'm so glad you're here. You're so
I
smart.
think it was maybe it wasn't intentional.
The minute
I'm sure
you
it
guys
was.
start talking about this, Maya leaves. The minute you guys start talking about this, you start talking about Infernal Vanilla, etc. You start seeing all these different streams suddenly pop up on these little holographic panels that you almost didn't even see, and you just see like an advertisement for one thing or an advertisement for the next, and some of you see a familiar face. It's different. It's definitely been upped in some ways, but you certainly see the face of Cara Mason that some of you interacted with in Miss Pasha 1 on our first mission. But you see it kind of pop up here and there, and she's like advertising all sorts of things. All of it's clothes. You can see one of them, Dr. T, is about ties, and so she's just, it's basically just her, and you can see she's in this sort of slim bodysuit that's glittering, and it's, like, you can tell it's sort of attempting to be a nude, but instead of it being a nude, it's just sort of like this glittering glow, and then there's a tie, and she's just, and it's like the color of, it's like a white colored vanilla, and so she's just sort of going through talking about this, and you can see her then moving throughout this what looks like some kind of corporate office affair, and all of them are kind of wearing this new tie, and everyone's kind of turning and looking at her because she has it on, and all of this is happening right around you, right next to your tie.
As soon as that happens, I get really excited. I'm like, oh, it's listening to us. I want to be a business. And I just wait to see what happens. And it pops up.
Oh my goodness, you are bombarded by all sorts of advertisements for basic business startups. That's all it is. You see venture capital investment firms and such, all these different things just popping up to the point where it's just like poof, 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 poof. It's overwhelming. Kill, you were going to say something.
I feel like I fall for whatever the most predatory one is in the flashiest
Absolutely.
market.
Okay, there.
And it's like sending you to like the maintenance tunnels. It's like it's not going to the right place.
I go with whichever direction it leads
So
me.
you get, yeah, so you see a okay, so you see a reference to somebody by the name of Jacob Flint financial advisor, business startup, and it's one of those things where like when his ad comes up, it's just him in a very kind of plain bunk. There's like a beanbag chair in the back, and he's just like, "Do you want to start a business? Well, I can help you today." And then there's a number. You can see the number pops up, like a communication number, and like a little address, and then the lights start popping up in the streets and stuff, kind of directing you to where you need to go.
I start going that way.
And so Zatek starts wandering off. Kill, what were you going to do?
Okay. So, with the stuff that I know we're just joking calling her Infernal Vanilla, but since it's somewhat of a social media sort of thing, is there the potential to be able to post a reply to it? With the way the whole setup is?
Yeah, sure.
If so, Kill wants to take like the cam unit from his armor, turn to Dr. T, who's wearing the tie. Yeah. I want you to copy exactly what she just did, but be so you. And he's gonna film like Dr. T mimicking her tie ad and then post it as a reply.
Oh my goodness.
Just out of petty spite on behalf of Maya.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Dr. T, can you please make a physical test for me so that you can try to do all of the things that she was doing, but with tentacles.
Oh, it is a thing. Okay.
Yeah, it's for mobility.
Yeah.
See how this goes. You're doing like a little TikTok reply video. Okay. It.
That's good, though.
He's moving.
It's like it's good that it's bad. That's kind of the hope.
Maybe. So you upload it, and you kind of you post that to like a reply feed with your own vid, and we'll see what happens with that. As Zatek, you wander off by yourself. Cheetah, you were looking at an art piece. Maya and Zatek at this point have both wandered off. The Cheetah, Kill, Dr. T, you're all kind of in the same basic area. Dr. T, as soon as you're done with that filming of a video, after you have like checked in with this, you've checked into that, you get a buzz on your comms, and I'm going to share something with you. All right, so this is going to
secret
tunnel.
Your name is Chuck, so let me do Chuck. Okay, so hopefully that pops up. You're welcome to share it. It's up to you. As Dr. T gets a message and he immediately starts checking, and it's a priority message. Okay.
And Cheetah is just lost in looking at this, and she's looking at the advertisements to see when this art show is.
It is currently it is ongoing. There's not a start and an end. It just goes. That's how things work here. His name is Basin.
Basin Bjorn. Do you like cake?
Basin Jorn.
Jeremy, that's you.
Jeremy.
Sorry, I was trying to look up a funny thing.
Do you like cake?
Do I like cake?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not really used to being called that name. I'm so sorry. I just.
No, that's okay. Do you like cake? It's an easy question.
I mean, it's really a complicated question because I do enjoy it, but it takes a lot of work out to get it off these days. Yeah,
I can help with that.
No.
Anyway, I just got an invite from the embassy that says they're happy that I'm here and they're offering free cake to me and everyone who comes along.
I mean, I really should respect Maya's want for some privacy and her family time, so that sounds like a good idea.
And Zatek doesn't eat. Is Cheetah, are you still here? Did you run off?
I say Cheetah's still there. That's fine. I can say Cheetah's still.
Cheetah, you want cake? They said it's going to be like rainbow colored and stuff.
No, I don't. Thank you, though.
Serious? No.
It's
okay.
Very nice of you to offer, but I don't. Even rainbow cake, as creative as that is, cannot hold a candle to the art that I have the opportunity to view here. I must go.
What if it's
see
a birthday
this show?
Then it can hold a lot of candles.
It cannot.
What if we get the
The
cake
piece-
to go and bring it to the art display?
Yeah.
It's free cake, and free cake is not going to be large enough.
But they're
for
making
that.
it for
Thank you.
me specifically.
No, that's fine. I've
Really?
I think I've
Okay.
had enough of time with all of
Okay,
You-
goodbye. Zatek, are you coming with us?
I think I'm gone at this point.
I think the tech is gone.
He's
Yeah.
already gone.
I think he's already gone.
Yeah.
All right, Kill, let's go get some cake.
All right,
Okay.
that sounds great.
Oh goodness. Okay, so Maya is heading to the Okanto offices. Jita is going to the Gilded Dividends for the art show. Zatek is following Jacob Flint's ad about starting a business, and so we see Zatek. He's like following this lighted path. It takes him off like this really fancy, glamorous this glamorous road, and eventually we find Zatek kind of moving down into these what looks like auxiliary tunnels and stuff. And every now and then, like, there's like a holograph light that still flickers, and like there's an arrow pointing this way, and there's other people on the road and stuff here and there. But you find yourself just sort of going all the way down and like descending into the maintenance tunnels of this place. And the last we see of Zatek is we see him standing in front of what looks like just a dive bar, and outside it says the Rusty Cog, and you can see as display there is a rusty cog, and that is literally the whole thing, and there is a door going inside. Zatek, do you go inside?
This is a place of business. It's perfect.
You
I'll go
go
in.
inside, and you can see that it is not quite completely full, but I would say it's maybe 2/3 of the way full. Plenty of places. There's a bar. There's all sorts of booths and tables. It is for a dive bar. This is actually really nice. Like, understand there's definitely a scale that's happening here. Any other place, this is a high-end gig, but relative to where you just came from, like about half an hour ago, this kind of looks sort of like shit. But you nonetheless see that everyone here is dressed in basically some kind of suit, whether it's sort of a very nice fashion suit or a business suit. So you can see they're all there, and the people are having these little dealings, such, and they're having these little conversations. There is a bar. You can see there's a Kaltoran. There's a Kaltoran and a court bartender. You know, you can see back there, kind of making drinks here and there. You can see that there's a few screens on the walls that's showing like Dash and a couple other like sports games and such. What do you do, Zatek, when you come in?
I saw this guy's face pop up, so I'm looking for him, just kind of scanning first.
Roll an awareness test.
Okay. I get +1. Oh, 15.
Okay.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
yeah.
You're looking around. You can see that there is some kind of like still behind the bar that the bar, one of the bartenders occasionally turns around and sort of messes with it and kind of yells and kicks it and smacks it. It seems to be broken and functional. And like as you get closer, you hear this conversation, and it's like, Jacob, hurry the hell up already! And you see climbing up from the ground below the bar is a relatively dirty-looking Kaltoran man. With the characteristic ears, and he's definitely got those like the dreads and stuff, and is kind of smudge here, and is wearing a suit, but it's not like a corp nice suit. It's still a suit, and they're still doing maintenance work. And like they stand up and they wipe themselves off, and they've been working on it, and they're like, yeah, I think it's gonna work now. Go ahead, give it a try. So they kind of mess with some of the stills, and you can see the booze starts to flow, and like about damn time. Like, yeah, no problem, no sweat, no problem. Anyhow, you need anything else needs fixing? And this is the guy who you saw in the face of the advertisement.
Awesome. I just walk straight up to him and like put my hands down on the bar. I say, I saw your ad.
Turns and looks. Which one?
I want to be a business.
Oh, right, yes. Okay, one second. Okay, you've come to the right place. Let me show you to my office. And he walks out from behind the bar, and he leads you over to what looks like a ratty corner of this bar, where there is a small booth that definitely looks like it has been repaired multiple times. The cushions have been, cut, and you can see patched over here and there. Take a seat and tell me everything I need to know. And we'll cut from there, as that's the last thing we see as Zatek. Cut over to Maya. Maya, you make it to the Octanto building. You are downtown. You're left your party half an hour or so ago, but you find yourself in front of this massive skyscraper. You can see in the sort of the windows out front, it's not just advertisements anymore, but you see physical, tangible displays of people that seem to be doing this constant fashion walk, like inside the windows of this thing. Like they've been hired to like live mannequins. They're real people doing the things that other department stores would do with mannequins, and they're just doing it back and forth. And they are some of the most attractive people. You might even recognize a couple of them as actual streamers that are of comparable, like at least at some point, were of comparable popularity as you, and they're kind of moving around here and there. So it's a big deal. What do you do, Maya?
First, I'm gonna pull up like my front camera or whatever on my phone and just like fix my hair, do my makeup, like look as nice as I can reasonably make myself look. And then I'm gonna walk into the office, head held high, shoulder back, and make my way to the reception or information desk.
Okay. No problem. You are walking down this middle aisle. There are these kind of crystal displays to the right, to the left, where like kind of separates you in the walk path from where all of these constant 24/7 fashion displays are happening. You do notice, though, kind of strangely, as you walked in, some of the running lights went red. As you take steps here and there, you can see like the door behind you, same thing.
That before?
Not for someone of your level. That's kind of a sign that someone has scanned like your follower count, your Q rating, and have found you wanting. It's just a kind of a quick way of assessing whether or not you are worth the time of the receptionist that you now look at, which seems to be an extremely well-dressed young man, maybe with a very poofy pompadour that pops over, and you can see these little lines going down his face that are lit up here and there, and you can see one of his eyes is certainly it's sort of an implant, and as he turns towards you, his eyes shift and he's like, "Can I help you?"
Yes, good morning, or afternoon, or whatever time it is.
The bathrooms here are not public.
That is not why I'm here. I am here because my name is Maya Dianu, and my streaming handle is Divine Mocha. Octanto Industries has been trying to get a hold of me, and I unfortunately was in the server system and unable to receive the messages. I have them here. I was hoping to speak with somebody from your promotional team that would handle this so I can work through that a little better. She'll pull out.
He kind of he takes a very pitying look at you.
I do have them here if you would like to see.
Takes a very pitying look. He kind of looks left and right. He leans forward. He's like, "Are you sure you want to do this? This reeks of desperation."
If I did not think this was a good idea, I wouldn't be here.
Oh, well, let me check your follower count and see if it's suitable for our current promotional material. What was it called again? What was your name?
Mocha.
Yes, Divine. Is there like an underscore in there somewhere?
No.
Oh dear. Is this some sort of joke? Henry, are you playing a joke on me? And you can see some beautiful red-haired man steps out and is like, "No." Oh goodness. Your account. You seem to have a very significantly you're very significantly short of the bare minimum follower requirement that we have for even having a discussion of this kind. Honestly, I should really bill you for the time that you have wasted of mine right now by talking to you. This clearly could have been a written communication, and it could have been forwarded through people much lower and lesser than myself. As I said,
she kind of
desperation
sucks her teeth at it. Is visibly angry. What is your minimum follower count?
He throws out a number, but when you check, yours, you've definitely seen a significant decline in the last, we'll say, like a month or two. I think you had stuff planned for up till through a couple months, but then you've literally not posted anything for like 2 months.
Right.
And so in that time, your stream has like completely flattened, and your followers have just disappeared. And so you probably have about a third of what you had when you left. Maybe actually, that's probably even being generous, a tenth of what you had.
Sure. God damn it.
Sorry.
Okay. No, that's perfect. She's gonna pull up the messages that she got and show them.
You can do that out on the street. Thank you.
Why would I receive this if it
Your
wasn't-
outdated fashion sense is clashing significantly with the aesthetic that we're trying to put on display here, I'm afraid.
I'm not leaving until I can speak to somebody.
If you insist.
I do
Henry.
insist.
And you see Henry and what looks about 7 other suits come out from behind, all dressed to the nines, all very clearly carrying extraordinarily high-tech weaponry. They are security, and even the security here is dressed impeccably, right? They all, like, literally glamorous models are coming at you with guns.
Sure.
And Henry, with a beautiful red pompadour, says, "Madam, is there going to be a problem here? Perhaps you don't know the way out. If you were uncertain, follow the red lines back to the exit. If you cannot do that yourself, we can carry you out if necessary."
How would I even be here if I didn't think that it was important for me to be here?
Madam,
it would be a disservice to Octano
I
Industries
very
if I
much-
left without speaking to somebody who isn't security.
Why would anybody of import speak to someone of your level? Now,
Because my level is
Madam,
only what it is now.
Madam, please.
She is not letting
Your
herself
Q
be
rating
interrupted.
is plummeting currently. You're on live stream. People can see this. And you look up and you can see there are floating drones looking down at you and recording this interaction where you are desperately throwing yourself at the Octanto business offices.
She is mortified at that and immediately like clamps up and like, this isn't over. This is not over. And she,
Well, no, our business is going to be quite successful, but I'm pretty sure your career is. Bye-bye. And they kind of flank you in very formal, almost military-like format. You know, like their squad is like just perfectly rounded, and they have their guns. It's very elegant though, and very respectful. And they escort you out. And immediately you start seeing popping up on some of your advertisements. You see job postings for person of your ilk. You see images of disgraced streamer Divine Mocha escorted embarrassingly out of Octanto offices, popping up. Boom, boom, boom. You're getting pings on all of your various communication feeds from people who know you, who are like, "What happened? Why are you doing this?" You have people, you're getting like these notifications of people unfriending you, all this sorts of stuff as they are cutting ties with Divine Mocha.
oh no.
Oh.
I think she is kind of tail between her legs going to go to her mother.
Okay.
And trying very hard not to cry on the way.
So the last thing we'll do before we cut is we'll see Dr. T and we see Kill. We see them heading over to the Nephilim embassy, which is much like everything else, is a towering structure. It's very austere. But one of the big differences, and you can notice that there are very clear differences, that there is a kind of an organic steel quality to it. Like you can see as you go inside, living architecture. You can see there's panels that's kind of moving and shifting, bioluminescence. You can tell this is all kind of biomechanical in some ways. It's not just like synth steel and such here and there. All of this, there's this engineered flora, there's like this rhythmic hum that you hear of the hidden machinery going around behind the walls, these intricate vines that almost show like a circulatory system of the place, and all of these other elements that are kind of intertwining wall, ceiling, floor. You can see the security is tight, extraordinarily tight. There's all sorts of these sort of sophisticated surveillance systems. You can see as like and one of those walls just kind of opens up, and what almost looks like an eyeball kind of peers and follows the two of you as you approach. You come to a front desk. It has the vague appearance of something corp, but decidedly different. Like Kill, you can clearly tell like this is someone trying to be like corp, but just off the mark, ever so slightly, just off. Maybe Dr. T doesn't notice it, being Neff himself. But you can see that behind the desk is not a tenebrous Nephilim, but rather you can see an emissary. So it looks like a human, basically, but with kind of colorful, sort of blue-greenish skin. And they look up at the two of you, and in a very sing-songy like voice, almost too sing-songy, right? Almost like it was sort of over-engineered to try to sound like angelic or cherubic or something like that. And she just says,
what can I help you with today?
I'm Dr. Toronto, and I've come for the free cake.
Oh, Dr. Toronto, and you have brought one of your underlings with you. Excellent. The deacon is waiting for you. Follow me, please.
And you see she just like kind of wheels herself out, but as she does so, she realizes like she really only has like the human torso, but the bottom half of the body looks to have been like bioengineered to essentially move around as though like she's shifting on like wheels in some sort of weird way. And she leads the two of you deeper and sort of further into this building, up some flights of stairs, through a lift. You can see there's all of these different people coming and going. Nephilim, like diplomats, are all adorned in these bioengineered robes. You can see that some of them are in very serious discussions. All of them have more than two arms. Very rarely do you see anybody other than yourself with only two arms. You see 3 arms, 4 arms, 6 arms as people are filing various things. People are working different bioluminescent screens and such. And eventually you're led into a meeting chamber. And you can see that there are all these panels lit up. They're all dimly lit. You can see the walls are kind of pulsating subtly. Like it's kind of, you can almost feel like it's a beat, like a heartbeat kind of going on. And in the center of the room, you can see that there's this large, sleek table. It's like this polished black stone. It looks entirely different than everything else you're seeing. And you can also see around it, there are all of this like synthetic, like / organic materials for seating. Like the chairs, again, everything just like a hair off, just like 1% off. Everything just looks a little bit different. And you can see at the center of the table, there is a cake. It is 3-tiered. You can see that it's sort of this sort of pale white gray frosting, and then each of the layers has this coated blue gray frosting that seems to be like tipping over the side. And there's no like candles or anything in it currently, but it's just kind of sitting there. You realize as you're looking, there's no plateware, there's no like silverware, there's no forks or anything like that. And as you're waiting, you can see a door on the other side opens up. And you can see that there are 3 people that come out, 3 individuals. The first one who comes in is bigger than you, Kill. It's like 9 feet tall. This enormous gargantuan Nephilim that is carrying. Well, first it looked like they were carrying a cannon, but then you realize one of their arms is effectively a cannon. As they come in and they sort of come up to you all, and you can see they're scanning. And as he talks, like, arms up! And then they're kind of scanning. And then you can see this other woman comes in, and she sort of takes a seat. And then finally, Dr. T, you see the person you would know as Deacon Ot-Ah-Wah. Very tall, probably about 7 feet or so. Kind of imposing, but slender, deep blue skin. Got this intricate kind of bioluminescent pattern kind of going on. You can see that they have a synth steel mask. Their brain, like you can see the knots of their brain is kind of visible from above the mask itself. They have 4 arms, 2 of which seem to be working with a data pad. And the other 2 are like kind of held together almost like in this Mr. Burns kind of way as they walk in. And they look up at you and they say,
please kindly indulge in this traditional welcome nourishment so that we can commence negotiations with our food cavities properly filled.
And we'll go ahead and end there, and we'll pick up on that next time around.
Stop right at the cake.
Right at the cake, because I'm curious if you guys will eat it. All right. There we go. All done. I'm like trying to figure out what that says. I'm like, what sounds almost right, but isn't quite right for like stomach food cavity. There we go. Food cavity. That's perfect. So that's what I was trying to do.
Digestion chamber.
I can't I'm visualizing him as like a taller, like Martian from Mars Attacks, but like, kind of like that. It's kind of how I'm seeing it.
I love it.
Okay, so next time around, disgraced streamer Divine Mocha. We'll see what happens to her. Zatek, we'll see if he gets to start a business. Gita goes to an art show, and Gil and Dr. T have cake with a high-ranking deacon within the Nephilim Assembly on Alabaster 1. Pretty good.
Oh,
good.
boy.
Good times.
It's gonna be fine there, Gil. Listen, just let me put my moves on. Well, seduction, wiggle the tentacles a bit. It's gonna be great.
I'll share with you guys.
Take my cake to the other room while you do that.
Proper Nephilim protocol does dictate there be an unwilling audience.
I just
Is
shared.
that why you invited me?
I just shared with everyone the actual invitation, the summons that Dr. T got. So, attention, Dr. Toronto, by directive of the Archgenocrat Devwitch, your immediate presence is required at the Nephilim Embassy on Alabaster 1. Failure to comply with due speed may result in the unleashing of a particularly ravenous Glorkin upon your holdings. You may bring your underlings if you wish. There will be cake. Deacon Ot-Ah-Wah.
I love the cake on the.
There is a cake.
Deacon
Oh,
Ottawa
goodness.
is just great.
I have as best I can tried to maintain Chuck's the sort of the Chuck's trailblazing of trying to name most Nephilim after Canadian cities and provinces. So best I can, we're gonna stick with it. I have a disturbingly long list of this, and so I just put like random like hyphens and apostrophes.
Long list.
Yeah,
I love it. So good.
I was still so proud of Montgomery Real. I was so proud of it. We never really talked to Montgomery
That
Real,
is
but I was
a really
super proud
good
of it.
one.
All right. Anyhow, let's go ahead and close it down. Let's do some plugs and we'll get on out of here. Let's start with the Fenders. Chuck, Joe, what's going on with you guys this week?
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, what are we doing? Wednesday we're scheduled for Night Below Dungeon Crawl Classics, but it's also Juneteenth, so we may take it off for the holiday. And then Friday we'll be doing some Pathfinder 2nd Edition, And Saturday, we'll be doing some Chained Coffin. That's DCC using Weird Frontiers and weird Appalachian stuff. And yeah, that's what we got for the week.
Awesome. Fantastic. My Trey, where can we find you on the internet?
I am Mighty Plays Games on YouTube and not yet disgraced, but working on it. Yeah. So if you want to check me out, you should check me out.
Mm-hmm. It's only in the fiction disgraced streamer content creator. It would have been fine, and then you just got caught in like just the worst kind of way.
It was so great. I loved it so much.
We're going to explore what canceled is like in the Fragged universe. This is going to be great. This is going to be awesome.
Oh no.
All right. As for us, next game is tomorrow night. We're playing some Frontier Scum as Steven pops back into the GM seat for some acid Western nonsense. Thursday, you can see a few of us here playing some Simba Room as we get back to our Dark Fantasy game. Friday, Delta Green, where we're starting up a new scenario, a new mystery set in mine and Melissa's backyard, like literal. We're in Arizona. It's fun. And then Saturday, we got more Call of Cthulhu going through our Eternal Lies campaign. And next Monday, you can see almost everyone here playing through some Alien as we alternate Fragged and Alien on Mondays. Back and forth we go. And that's about it. We're going to go ahead and raid Happy Jack's RPG. They are playing other fun sci-fi space shenanigan games, Starscape. So follow the raid. Have a great rest of your night. Bye.